Hi and welcome back. Today we're not in my wormery, but we're in my backyard instead. Usually it's an indoor activity, messing around with the worms, but now that the weather's getting good, I figured let's do a little bit of bin prep out here in the beautiful summer weather. I'm going to be harvesting a bin pretty soon, and I need a place to put the worms, so this bin is going to be the place to put it. And you can see I got a lot of the normal staple items. Container of eggshells with some grit. This is some compost out of my out of the compost tumbler that's over there in my yard back in the corner. And this is a finer version of what's out there. Coffee grinds, used coffee grinds, cardboard, leaves, and this is going to be the bonus for the new occupants. It's going to be a little bit of watermelon just to christen the new bin and make it really homey. So I'm just going to set this up really quick, and I figured what the heck, shoot a little quick video about it. So let's get going. So we'll start with the leaves and the cardboard. I'm not going to use all this cardboard, maybe half of it. So we'll dump out. Ooh. That's plenty. You might remember that I had built my last bin with no cardboard whatsoever. I had used all leaves, and that was great, but I've still got all this cardboard laying around, so I figured it's time to start putting it to use, and I'm just going to go ahead and incorporate some of what I've got left over into this new bin here. Let's start adding some water. This is all dry stuff. It's going to suck the water right up. Okay. So we're just going to proceed to the addition of the dry leaves. They'll help a lot in soaking up the remaining moisture. In fact, I'll probably end up needing to add even more moisture. But let's get the leaves in here next. Whoa. That's probably a good amount. Okay. Let's get back to good moisture level here. That works. Well, I think we've reached the point where the damp cardboard is mixed in pretty nicely with the damp leaves. Once again, I may have added a little bit extra moisture. I could see a little bit of moisture sitting at the bottom of this bin, but I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem. So I wanted to move on to the next layer. Now what I have remaining is coffee grinds, compost out of the composter, and the grit. Oh, and the good part, the melon. You know what? Maybe the melon can go in next here in the middle areas, and then I can just start layering the remainder of that stuff up on top. Maybe the coffee will go in on top of that. I think that should be fine. It'll give me a lot of room for growth to keep adding lots of food on a regular basis for them. Okay. One piece of melon. And the second piece of melon. Yummy, yummy. So, let's proceed with coffee grinds. So just cover up pretty much all of the watermelon rind. Cool. Not bad. So I think this is a good place to introduce a little bit of grit. Although I think I've heard people say that coffee grinds are also grit. I don't know about that. I mean, beans, they're ground up, they've been soaked. I don't know if they're that, I don't know if they are, so I don't know. Either way, it's going to stick to the old routine, eggshells. I think there's other solutions a person can use, but it's important for the digestion of the worms. Make sure we got some nice grit in there for them. Good stuff. Alrighty. And to cap it all off, we'll just use some of this compost that I took out of the composter. It's been sitting now for a couple weeks, so it might be a bit dry. I don't know how it's going to work out. Let's just dump it in and see what we get. Oh, it's coming out as a big brick, but that's not a problem. Just have to get our hands dirty again. We'll spread this stuff out nice and evenly across the top. See some of the coffee grinds poking through here on the top as well. This dark material, this just came out of the compost tumbler. It's mostly grass clippings and leaves and some kitchen scraps and whatnot. Left to go for a little while, and this was just some really fine stuff that I was able to screen down. So I thought that would be a nice capping off layer, but that's pretty much it. I'm not sure if I should add more. It looks pretty shallow, but that shouldn't be a problem. I guess I could always throw a little bit of leaf matter on top. I've got plenty of leaves here. So why don't we do that just to give it a little bit more mass and volume. This stuff is just a little bit damp, but I don't think that's a problem considering there's 2 whole big chunks of watermelon rind in there. Those should provide a fair amount of moisture for the bin, as well as all the soaked material on the bottom. Hopefully within a couple days I'll have some worms to put in here, and we'll have a new bin in service. Alright everyone, that's it for today. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this installment. Sorry, no worms, just the creation of a new worm bin. So I set up all my bins for quick and easy access, so let's take a peek at the guys that are going to be populating that bin we just built. 122. So Monday is going to be 723 and exactly 26 weeks. So I think that sounds like a good even number. 182 days. And I don't think there's anything else going on that day. So I'll shoot for harvesting this bin then. So let's see how these guys look. Oh boy. They're enjoying something big there. Don't know what that is. Ooh. Here too. Ooh. It's so weird. You reach down and you could feel a hunk or a lump of something, and you know there's really nothing in here but worms. And then you come to the realization that it's just a lump of worms that you're feeling. It's crazy. Alright, so I've got another feeding coming up in another day or two, but I don't think this bin is going to get any more food. they're just going to be left with what remains in this section. There's still some pretty good sized chunks of stuff in here. And hopefully they'll stay put on this end of the bin, so it'll make for an easy harvest. I have poked around on that side a couple days ago just to see how populated it is, and there's worms in it still, but the hope is that these feedings recently on this side have convinced the worms that being on this side is the better end of the deal. This is just thick with castings on the bottom. Okay. These guys are quick, almost as quick as I turn them up into the daylight, or up into the light. They just start diving down again. Alright, enough of the disruption. Sorry. Let's get these guys covered back up and back on the shelf. So we'll see these guys in another couple days, and I'll probably shoot video of that as well. See how the harvesting process goes for me. Hopefully well. Keeping my fingers crossed. So that's it for now. We'll see you in a couple more days, and thanks again for sticking it out and watching the video.